welcome to the Monday Morning Business Boost, brought to you by Monroe County Radio and Tino Amaya State Farm Insurance Agency. I'm your host, Tino Amaya, and I am here today with my good friend, Becky Clark. Becky, good morning.
Good morning, Tino. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. Now, this is a little different than what we originally had intended for this show. It wasn't going to be a Zoom show. It was actually going to be a live, in-person boost businesses throughout the community. But we kind of had to switch gears a little bit because of everything going on.
Absolutely. And, desperate times call for desperate measures. Measures. Yeah, but I think it's a great idea to do it this way.
Yeah, I know when we spoke the other day, you had mentioned, I think, what was it? We were supposed to kick off the live version of this show about a week ago.
A couple weeks
ago. Maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden, this pandemic kind of took over and everything kind of got shut down. And so what we're seeing is businesses, not just this. This is just a fun show. It's a show designed to boost business throughout Monroe County. That was the whole premise behind this show when it started. But but seeing other businesses now having to switch gears and really change their business models. So what are you seeing, or what are you hearing out in the community with other businesses that have really had to switch gears?
Yeah, it's been real tough. As you know, I'm the sales director with Monroe County Radio. So it's my job to be, in constant communication with business owners. And there are a few, like I was mentioning to you the other day, that they can't open, and we all understand why. We understand the need for this. And unfortunately, they're selling out inventory. They're having to literally auction products off. And I don't know that a few of them are going to be able to rebound. Your idea to this show, we originally talked about, what was it, over the holidays, maybe January, about you noticed, as well as I did, that there were small businesses creeping up in our county, not just the city, but in the entire county, that were struggling just to get foot traffic in their brick and mortar. And your idea was what it is we were going to just go in and do a Pied Piper type draw. And that was prior to any of this happening. Now,
right.
The idea really was like a premonition almost, because now more than ever, we need to do this. And so I do notice that there's certain businesses that are still solvent, but one thing that I'm so proud of with a lot of all of you who become good friends of mine at this point is how creative you've gotten by changing your business model, about doing things that you never thought you would do. How quickly you guys have all done it. It's been amazing to watch.
Yeah, thank you. And that's just it. During times of crisis, and I know if you're a small business owner out there and you happen to be watching this, something I said maybe a few weeks ago when all this first started, actually on Greg Moore's show, and that is that as business owners, we're constantly putting out fires. And I think sometimes it takes a crisis for us to figure out, how to change our business model. Maybe it was time to go in a different direction. Maybe this is the kickstart you need to kind of take a half a step back, work on your business, make your business plan a little stronger, figure out, really the direction that you want to go in next. But I think sometimes, the panic sets in.
Right.
People start to worry so much about, oh man, like where is, because we still listen. At the end of the day, we still have rent to pay. We still have utilities to pay. We still have product costs. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you have those things. I don't care if you're a dog groomer, you still have these things, right? The only thing you might not have if you're a small independent person is maybe payroll, right? But we still have a lot of payroll, both here at my insurance agency and, of course, we own Amaya's Fresh Mexican Grill downtown Monroe. And, we have a very, very heavy payroll operation there. And so I get it as a business owner, but I think sometimes in times of crisis like this, you figure out ways not only to innovate your business, but to make it stronger. and to make it better and streamline it, so that you realize a lot of the little things that maybe you just didn't need anymore. And you kind of go, ooh, okay, I can save some money here, or maybe redirect those funds over here, and it makes more sense because now I'm turning that dead money into profit.
Exactly.
So, hopefully there are people out there that are kind of looking at this from both sides of the lens and not just doom and gloom. And, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this.
Right.
And hopefully if there are any businesses out there or anyone watching this, a small business that's struggling right now, drop a DM, send me a private message. That's what the show's about. That's what it's for, is to boost those shows. Put something in the comments section. Let us know. I want to reach out to those businesses and see if we can help boost their business. So, but getting back to that, you had mentioned, yes, we were talking about this live show going back to Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Los Angeles for Thanksgiving and the first week of December type of thing, visiting my wife and son. And actually, I'll tell you how it came to be. I had gone to a marketing meeting before I left for Los Angeles. And, you and I have had these conversations before too. I truly believe in divine appointments, divine interventions. I mean, I'm very, I don't force my Christian beliefs on anyone. Everybody has and that's what I love about living in America. You can believe what you want to believe, right? But for me personally, our business, my family, we've always been guided by Christian principles, Christian values. And so I never really believe in things happening just by chance or, that it just, the universe did it or whatever. I believe that, for whatever reason, God has chosen in this particular moment to lay something on your heart or my heart. And then he brings people together in certain situations that just, make something magical happen. And so before I left for LA, I had gone to a marketing meeting, and I get invited to these things all the time. I never go to them. But the only reason why I went to this one is because they were going to have really good cookies and really good coffee. So I thought, I want to be there for the cookies and the coffee. Let's go. And I want to hear what they have to say. And so I went to this meeting, and while I was there, one of the people that was facilitating the meeting is I'm being introduced to people around. Now, that's the other cool thing about me. There are so many people that know my name, but they don't really know me.
Right.
And a lot of that's by design. I like just kind of facilitating things, and I love helping out where I need to help out, but then let me just disappear, and I don't care who gets the credit. Let's promote Monroe and keep it going, right? But so this young lady shakes my hand, and it's such a pleasure to meet you. You have no idea how big a voice you have at our table today. And that just blew me away. I mean, I was like, you want to talk about a humble gut check in that moment. I thought, oh my word, I actually have to pay attention at this meeting. I actually have to take notes and pay attention. I mean, wow, but honestly, all jokes aside, I mean, it really was, for me, it was very humbling to think that somebody thought that highly of my opinion. And so that was the first thing. Well, then the next morning, I listened to a lot of different podcasts. One of my favorite is the Andy Stanley Business Hour. I love Andy Stanley. He's a great guy. If you get a chance, pull up his podcast. Phenomenal guy. But I was listening to Andy Stanley the next day. And so one was this meeting. It was a great meeting, by the way. And then the second one, I'm listening to my podcast, and Andy Stanley is telling a story about a time he had to interview a president. And he said, I've given, hundreds, thousands of talks in front of thousands of people, but this was the first time I was sitting one-on-one on a stage with the president of the United States, and I'm conducting this interview in front of thousands of people that are just sitting there watching this. He said, and I asked that president a question, and the question was simply this. I said, obviously as president of the United States, you are the most powerful person in any room that you walk into. So you have, and these were his exact words, you have the largest voice at any table. So what do you do when you realize that not only are you the most powerful person in the room, but you have the largest voice at the table? What do you do when you realize that as a business owner, as an individual, et cetera? And the president said, well, you leverage that voice for the benefit of others. That's what you're supposed to do. And so one was the meeting, two was my podcast. And then lastly, so now I'm in LA. I get up super early. I'm going through my normal routine. I'm doing my daily reading. And as I was sitting there reading, these two things just kept resonating with me. They just kept kind of coming back. And later that afternoon, I found out that Brass Monkey and Southern Yankee were closing. A friend of mine had sent me a message and said, hey, did you hear the news? These two places are closing. And in that moment, I realized, okay, I should have done more. If I have a larger voice in this community, then I personally should have helped advertise more. I should have helped spread the word more about what a great product they had. There was something more I could have done. And then I immediately called you because, people don't realize the brain that you have for all this marketing stuff. But that's how this all kind of happened, right? Then I called you up and said, hey, what do you think?
Well, thank you, Tino. Yeah, well, you and I have brainstormed over some great things in the last year. We've come up with some good ideas. We work well off of one another. But when you initially called me from LA, and we were talking about Southern Tea and about Brass Monkey. Now, I've frequented those spots, of course, but I had the same gut feeling you did. And boy, we should have been really, we could have done more. And then that led you and I to start talking about other small businesses, not the restaurant industry. Again, coming from my perspective with Monroe County Radio, there are places out there that create a great buzz when they first open. And then I don't know if it's due to lack of funding, a lack of marketing now, or whatever. They just seem to close very quickly. And as a community, I agree that we should be able to do more. You do have a voice in this community, but you are so humble, if you will, that you don't have everything anonymously. So it's kind of a miracle that people even know, even the few people that know all that happen, because you go to great lengths to make sure that it's done anonymously. However, the folks that you touch are aware of it. So I think that this is an absolutely brilliant, and the whole idea behind it is for you to go into businesses, or now through Zoom, to highlight businesses and get a little more in depth. There's only so much that information that can be done with a flyer or something like that. So this way you'll be able to, like you said, introduce them, get the back history of, how they began the business. And also the part I love that you came up with was just one ask. Ask the community just one way, just how can they help you? And in this time, it's perfect. It's the same exact premise that we had going prior to COVID-19. It's just changed its look a little bit. So
right. Well, and I think that's probably the biggest issue that most small businesses have, or small business owners have, is especially when you're starting out. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience, when you're first starting out, and I'm speaking primarily of the restaurant industry, I can tell you, like my brother and I, the first couple of years we were open, it's a blur. People ask me, like, I can tell you half a dozen mistakes we made. I can tell you thousands of dollars we burned in the wrong direction, but I mean, because you're just running it, so fast, and you're going in so many different directions. But you're right. I think, oftentimes I wonder the same thing, like, man, this product was so good. The service was good. The food was great, so where was the disconnect? And oftentimes what I see is it's a disconnect with the community. Is the people just didn't do enough to get ingrained in the community or get that community buy-in. And then
perhaps they didn't even know what to do. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
It's sort
absolutely.
Exactly. It's really, it's almost not neglect, if you will, but it's really, we didn't know. What did
Right.
you know? How could we have helped you? There are certain businesses, and again, because that's my job, is to go in and kind of, get to know the feel of the business, is that I had no clue that they offered the services that they offer, and it's my job to know that. So if I don't know that, I promise you the general public doesn't know that. So that's what I'm hoping, is that your show is going to bring that stuff to the surface. In your area of expertise, quite frankly, you are very good at marketing. I think everyone can attest to that. And so between you and I, we'll be able to guide them in ways at no cost that they can really grow their business. And I think with all that you have on your plate, and I know, no pun intended, but with the restaurant, all the donations and feeding the frontliners and everything else that you're doing, and maintaining your insurance, State Farm agency, I don't know how you're finding time to do this, but that's who you are. And so it's a gift. It is such a gift to the community. And I will say, just on behalf of Monroe County Radio, this couldn't be a better fit. About a year and a half ago, the radio station owner, Michelle Pallid, came up with a brilliant idea of just sort of changing our moniker, if you will. And it's "This Is My Town, a place I call home." And what that means simply is that we highlight, with a couple of programs that we have, many programs that we have on the radio station, we really zero in on folks in the community who are doing great things. You've been a guest on several of our programs. So it fits in beautifully with what we do. It fits in beautifully with what we do. And we're more than happy to support you. When we brought this idea to Michelle, do you remember that day on the phone that we had like a three-way thing going? And we brought Michelle in, and she didn't even hesitate. She was like, "I'm on it." Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she absolutely has been on board. And again, that's one of the reasons why I even brought it to you from the beginning, is because, we really wanted this show to be all about Monroe County.
Exactly.
And really coming from just a very small idea to what we want it to be, and really encompass all the businesses that are throughout Monroe County. Because I think a lot of times too, we just forget how big Monroe County is, we forget all the business. I think about going out to Ida and Mabee, and, some of the going all the way down to the border of Ohio, and all the different businesses that kind of encompass this whole area. There's a lot of businesses that really you can kind of, pull into this to say, look, let's highlight you, let's focus on you, and help you get a little bit of a boost, right?
Exactly.
So,
once this stay-at-home order or pandemic, or however we want to refer to it now, is over, and we do get some semblance of what life used to look like. Hopefully it's a reset and life will look a little better. This is still going to continue. This is going to be something that, you and I are going to manage to do forever, actually, I hope, because the need will never go away. But right now, I think you're right. We need to laser focus on particular businesses, most specifically the ones that are still open during this time, or the ones that are in fear or in danger of never opening again. And so that's where the laser focus can be right now. There are ways to help, but we need the business owners to voice that to us so that we're not assuming anything.
Yep, absolutely. For a long time, I've had a dream to create an incubator space here in Monroe, in the city, but something that would really benefit all of Monroe County. Now, that might be 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, who knows? So an incubator space is a space that's almost like a shared space community, right? Where if you are an aspiring, let's say, web designer, you can rent a small, just a desk area, a small suite area where you could go in and do your work. You could host meetings, but also what it does is, let's say there is some other type of, maybe someone that specializes in marketing, someone that specializes in photography, someone that specializes in an area, that you three could then collaborate together.
Okay.
And really create a kind of like a small mini business within this incubator space of a place, where you can really bring a lot of different minds together, and really use it as a shared community to help grow and market and on, you know, a much larger scale, but
Right.
utilize very, very, very minimal financial support, things like that. So, you know, for a long time, I thought, wow, this would be great. It serves two purposes. One, it gives somebody like, let's say, a small mom and pop business that wants to come in and maybe have somebody professionally digitize some photos, maybe create a menu, maybe do some web page design, maybe do some Facebook marketing and things like that. It gives them the opportunity to come in and get 2 or 3 different services from one incubator space, from people that are just starting themselves out in the business. So, you know, they're going to count. It's going to save them some money. But so here's where it's a win-win. The people that are just starting out in the incubator space, they need that on their resume too to move on to bigger and better, right? I need to build my resume in order to sell my services later on for maybe what they're worth. But also, if I decide I want to go get a corporate job, most corporate entities are going to say, okay, well, you have a degree. Now, talk to me about your experience, right? But if you can show, you know, that, hey, I worked with these restaurants or these businesses, we help, you know, create X amount of revenue, or we help, you know, grow, you know, X amount of percent, you know, that just exponentially makes you look great, you know, and it really pads your resume too. So for a long time, I thought, wow, you know, I'd love to have an incubator space in Monroe where we could really tap into a lot of the young minds, you know, that are really coming out of our community college. We have one of the best programs here, several programs that are just incredible here at the community college. And so I thought, man, if we could just tap into some of those minds, give them an opportunity to have their own spaces and their own areas to collaborate, I think that'd be phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I think it can help the community as a whole. However, I've kind of changed that mentality a little bit. And so I want to turn our community into a community-wide incubator space. And what I mean by that is that, listen, if you're sitting at home and you see us focus on a small business that puts out an ask for help with marketing or advertising or menu development or menu design or that sort of thing, and you have that talent,
exactly,
I'm going to say, call us, get a hold of us. Let's see if we can figure out a way to allow you to gain the experience you need, mm-hmm. and also help that business out at the same time. Let's make it a win-win. And to me, that's what this program is really all about. It's about boosting the businesses in this community in a way that's maybe never been done. You know, because this is a free service. No one's getting charged for this type of thing. The businesses we're going to visit, I mean, they're not gonna pay a dime, right? And they're going to get just absolutely, you know, plastered all over my Facebook page, your Facebook page. Thousands of people are going to have the opportunity to see, you know, their one-on-one interview with us. So if you're out there and you want to join the team and you want to come on and volunteer some services to help a small business out, let us know. Beautiful. As we get the thing going, we will definitely connect the dots and connect certain people and certain things. And if it's a fit, fantastic. If it's not, well, that's fantastic too, you know, but it's all about just trying to boost the business within our community. So.
Exactly. And, you know, there's such a beautiful thing that happens when strangers meet. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you can live in a community your entire life and really have no other reason to meet that person in that industry, for instance, if it's not an industry that has anything to do with your normal life. But then once you meet that person and say you're able to assist one another, unbelievable things can come from that. And I've seen it just with people I've met throughout my lifetime, people that you meet that you have no idea the impact that they're going to make on your life. And this is a great way to bring the community even tighter together, specifically at a time like this. Because like you said, Tino, I think a lot of people are being good citizens, and we thank you for that. We thank you for staying home and if you're not an essential worker, and taking care of yourself and your family. However, you do have time in your hands to maybe reach out via Zoom, via just a phone call, whatever, message, and just share your experience and share your talent. Great things can come from that. Great things can come from that.
Oh yeah. So here's what we'll wrap it up, and I'm going to say thank you for joining me, being my very, very first guest. So by the time anyone sees this episode, it will have been a week past Easter and COVID Easter, and and what a strange COVID Easter we had this year. It was not at all like any other Easter before. I have to send a quick shout out to my good friends over at Brass Monkey. They provided us with some amazing prime rib dinners. So we had a good time with them, and they made us some great food. So hopefully you and your family got to see each other. Did you guys do anything different for COVID Easter?
It was just my husband and I. Our kids are all grown, and the crazy part for us is that one of our sons lives in Detroit, and our daughter lives in New York City. Now, she was fortunately able to get out of New York City a few weeks ago. She's up at the lake house in Harbor Springs. So she's still in Michigan, which is a hot spot, but we've communicated with everyone, and we have 2 sons that live local, but everyone in our family is taking this extremely seriously. We have a Zoom conference for later in the week, and it's going to include kids and everybody. So we're looking forward to that. But no, it was just Dennis and I home, and traditional dinner, I didn't cut any corners. We still did the full thing, but it's different. Kids, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. We did the same thing. I was fortunate. I had, 3 of my children with me. Of course, 2, Alec down in BG, and then Brady out in LA. Yeah. So, didn't get a chance to see them, but, we did, FaceTime and, got to act like we were all eating together. We didn't really get to see each other. So
it's heartwarming when you look at all the stories of how people have just literally, it's a mindset. It's like you just have to get up every day and just make the best of it. Make the best.
So again, thank you so much for being my very first guest.
You're
I appreciate it so much. And folks, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Please, if you have a business that you think would benefit from being on this program, again, send me a DM, put it in the comments section. Let us know. We're going to be reaching out to a lot of businesses throughout Monroe County, trying to just give them that little bit of added boost. And hopefully we all come out of this okay. So thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Goodbye, everyone.